And hello, folks. It's the odd one, DJ Odyssey. And we don't need the sound on that part of it. We did need the sound on that. So, yeah, when you're flipping around, you got 50 million buttons you're trying to do. It gets to be a pain. But anyway, welcome to episode 1 of Let's Talk. This is the old odd one trying out a new little weekly format. We're going to do one show per week where we focus in on one subject. Now, tonight's subject is going to be a little bit broader than some will be, but I figured we could turn this down to just talking about sci-fi TV shows for a change. Some of the old ones that we love, some of the newer ones we love, doesn't matter what it is, as long as it is a TV show. Enough of just random gobbledygook that we might want to talk about. Now, if you want to join the panel and come on up with us and talk about your favorite TV shows, go ahead. I've thrown the link into the chat. You can pop up here. Of course, a lot of people already know that Doctor Who is one of my favorites out there. Well, especially the old classic Who. Some of the newer Who, but nothing in the last few years. No. The old odd one can't handle that one. But of course, mine is, well, the fourth Doctor, Tom Baker. But we don't need to talk about and focus in on all my shows. That's why this is an open panel night that you can come up, as long as you're going to stick with TV shows. Mark Rell, hello.
Hello there. I'm fine.
Welcome.
How about you?
I'm doing pretty good. We're talking about the old TV shows tonight, sci-fi. And we've got Bird of Prey up here.
And I'm totally looking forward to it.
I kind of thought maybe we needed to focus in at least once a week on something that we could all get behind and talk with. And how are you this evening, Bird?
Good. Hello, world.
Hello, world. Yep, that is Bird of Prey 5.
Yeah, that's right. He did it right. He said hello, world, because he knows that people from all over the world are watching.
That's right. And all over the world, people love sci-fi TV shows. So let's get right to it. Let's name out. Let's start with Mars, since he popped up here first. What was one of your old favorite TV shows?
Oh, my favorite shows. Well, I have had two as I was a kid, and it was, of course, Star Trek, the original series, and Captain Future.
No, I'm not.
To the anime.
I'm not completely too familiar with Captain Future, but of course I do know TOS, Star Trek. And if you'd like to tell us about the other one that we don't know of?
You want to know a little bit about Captain Future?
Well, sure. Yeah, explain to some of our audience that's listening and watching.
Well, actually, Captain Future, the books came out long before Star Trek and everything, and the series was animated or cartoonish, so it was more for kids, while the books was more for adults. And the books was way darker than the series. But people say that some of the stuff that came up in Captain Future was used in Star Trek, Star Wars, and other sci-fi shows in the later time periods. So I think it's always good to start with Captain Future first before you go to the others, because there are some similarities. For Captain Future, for example, you have a robot and an android, and the android has the capability to transform himself into everything he wants to be. So he has he's like Odo from Deep Space Nine, long before Deep Space Nine.
Really interesting. And with Bird up here, I can imagine that probably Star Trek is up there on the top for you, Bird.
Yeah, I mean, it's just which order of Star Trek, sure, but I mean, I'm sure everybody knows Star Trek, Star Trek, Star Trek. So if I had to pick a non-Star Trek, non-Stargate show, it would be X-Files.
X-Files.
Yeah,
Like
I think
Agent.
X-Files doesn't get enough love.
Agent Scully and Mulder.
And then there was that brief season where they had other people.
Yeah, but do we really count that brief season?
No, it's like the Dukes of Hazzard season without Bo and Luke,
Yeah.
but nobody cares.
Or that season of Next Generation with Pulaski. Nobody really cares.
I mean, I remember X-Files was probably the first non-Star Trek show, sci-fi show I watched that wasn't like a cartoon, like a Saturday morning cartoon.
I don't know.
I mean,
I'd
I
have,
consider like Transformers like sci-fi.
I'd have to go back to like the $6 Million Man or The Incredible Hulk.
Yeah, well, I'm younger than you, so.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure if you could call the Incredible Hulk sci-fi, to be honest,
Well,
because it's
well,
more
I-
like hero.
Well, yeah, but it was an accident while he was performing scientist work. So it's more sci-fi.
Okay.
At least I would
Fair.
consider The Incredible Hulk
Fair
sci-fi.
explanation.
I mean, a man that turns into a hulking green creature with super strength. I'd call it science fiction.
We had this debate on somebody's channel because I was like, well, you know, do you call Mr. Ed sci-fi because he's a horse that talked? And Knight Rider.
That's more fantasy. Now, Knight
But-
Rider, I would almost consider was sci-fi at the time, but now it's more reality. Closer, at least, except for the indestructible car part.
Mike Richard loved X-Files. I was really upset that their spin-off, The Lone Gunman, never got traction, but
And while we're at this, we might as well give a big shout out to everybody that's popped into the chat for this first show. Well, it's not my first show, but you know, kind of focused in show. Wesley Crusher, we've got 47 Yorktown, Jeffrey Nelson, we've got PJ, Orville Nations here, Alexander Brooks, Kronos has come out of hiding today. Joseph is still awake, though he's telling me to speak softly because he's trying to sleep. Piano Dean come in and yelled ho. I guess I'm a ho now. Hey, Mike Richards is here. We've got Tia in the audience. And we've got Night Breeze popping below.
Hello, everybody.
hey,
Mr. Londell's in here, and he's talking about Land of the Giants. Now, we've got a couple other people down below, and I don't know who one of them is, so until he identifies himself, I'm not letting him up on the panel. Though I know he is a Doctor Who villain of sorts. Till you identify yourself, you're not getting up here. Silence. Silence will not fall. Hello, Mr. CCDV.
Farthing chicken feet. That's what I have to say. Captain Trek and I just watched the first episode of The Expanse, season 1, episode 1. I have no idea why you people like that show so much.
you're not going to, not for a long time.
Okay, now I know who the silence is because he just flipped me off. Uh-huh. Now remember, folks, we are sticking to the topic of the evening. If you try to float off the topic, you will get booted from the stream. Just
The
remember that.
topic is first episodes of sci-fi, right?
Well, it's not specifically the first episodes. This is episode 1 of my new Let's Talk series.
Oh,
It's all about sci-fi TV shows.
Ah, understood.
Topic. Each week the topic will change to something different. But I thought for an inaugural show, the first one would be good with sci-fi TV shows because we all should be able to relate with some show along the way.
I think
Of
you may
course.
be right.
One of my absolute favorites, though, well before I was born, was the original Twilight Zone.
Twilight
yes.
Zone.
There's something on the wing of the plane.
No. He didn't quite talk that bad back then.
It's a
No.
cookbook. It's a cookbook.
Oh, I love that episode where the woman is cleaning her attic and she comes across a little tiny space saucer. It turns out to be a United States space plane.
You're rooting for her to kill the aliens, and at the end, it's like, Houston,
The aliens are us. Ah!
giant aliens do not approach.
Love that episode.
We've got some other shows being thrown out here. Parrot Head said Babylon 5 first and Farscape.
I saw
Both of
Fringe
those are-
earlier.
Sorry, go ahead, Bird.
I'm sorry. I saw somebody mention Fringe earlier. I think Mike Richards.
Yeah,
I never got into
love
Fringe.
I love Fringe.
I watched a bit, but I could never get into it.
I liked the first 3 seasons of Fringe. It got kind of weird after that. And for a sci-fi show to get weird is really weird.
I think maybe that was when I kind of stopped because it was like a parallel universe or something, and I was like, that's where I kind of lost interest.
I do believe Mr. Londell's Groovy Movies is insulting me.
I kind of wondered that with the comment, it's a thinking man's sci-fi show.
Oh. Yeah, I was partial to Battlestar Galactica, the original series.
Right.
But then after that, back in the 80s, I was big into the, I guess you'd say, lesser-known sci-fi, your Manimal. Of course, Misfits of Science is one of my all-time favorites.
I love Misfits of Science.
Misfits of Science.
And of course, Jeff Franklin wants to unsub because he keeps throwing comments somewhere around and everybody's just talking all at once, so I can't keep up quite that easily while I'm sorting people out. And he loved X-Files. Yes, season 8, 9 count. Okay, there we are. We got you caught up. Jeff.
How about Alf?
Oh, Alf was awesome.
Alf's pushing it. Alf is
Alf
I've
is
heard
pushing
of-
it, really?
Yeah, that's fantasy.
that's
Okay, what about Small Wonder? That's a robot.
You're just trying my patience tonight. That's all you want to do. Well, we'll count Vicky on Small Wonder since she was a little robot.
Okay, and
Because
I
you're
want
kind of
I want to
cute.
address Mr. Lundell's statement because I watched episode 1 of The Expanse, and that thing was all over the place. It's like, what the hell is this thing?
I think Captain Trek and I counted 5 storylines for that stupid episode. And if I recall correctly, they carry on throughout the first season. All 5. I cannot keep up.
I'm kind of going with Orville Nation with my favorite Martian.
Agreed.
That Parrot Head comes up with a good one. 7 Days. I like that show.
Yes.
7 Days was also another great show.
It was very popular, but I never saw, except like half an episode of Third Rock from the Sun.
Oh.
Yeah, see, now Third Rock, it's kind of pushing it because, yes, they're supposed to be aliens, but they never really do anything alien-y.
No, it's more of a sitcom than it is a sci-fi show.
Yeah. That's like calling what is it? Mork and Mindy sci-fi.
The
Well,
only thing
there was-
sci-fi
It's the
about
same.
that.
It's the same principle.
Yeah, but at least there was more sci-fi involved with Mork and Mindy because he did drink out of his finger. Sometimes he would shoot things with his finger, and a few times aliens did come to get him, especially when Raquel Welch showed up to try to get him.
Kronos brings up a very good one. V from the 80s.
Yes.
Of course, V is right up at the top of my list.
Oh yes, I
as
got
long
it
as-
on DVD.
As long as it's the mini series.
Right, the miniseries, yeah.
TV series, kind of sucks.
No. Yeah.
Kind of like Planet of the Apes TV series. That didn't really do anything for me either.
So how many of you enjoyed Time Tracks?
I don't
Can't say I remember
Time
it.
I don't remember seeing it.
I got bored with it.
That was a guy. He was sit. A bunch of criminals came to the 20th century, so he traveled back and had to send them back. And his weapon was basically a key fob that shot a laser beam and sent him back to the future.
Oh, how lame.
Now, Jeff Franklin brings up Quantum Leap, but I know someone else brought up Quantum Leap earlier.
Yeah, Quantum Leap was right up there with good shows.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Outer
Definitely.
Limits.
Like that one too. Quantum
I
Leap
like
was-
Sliders better than Quantum Leap.
I like Sliders up to, what was it, season 5, I think. And then they really just leaned into that whole Cro-Mag thing, and I lost interest.
Yeah, I have to agree on that too. The Cro-Mag thing got old real quick.
Yep.
When was it that they got home but didn't realize they got home and slid again?
Oh, that was Jerry O'Connell. He was like, if this gate squeaks, then we're definitely in the right dimension.
Right.
And he swings the gate open and it doesn't squeak. And so they slide real quick. And then his mom comes out of the house and says, oh, thank you so much, handyman, for oiling that hinge.
Yeah.
Oh,
It so pissed me off that episode.
go
That's
screw
when I stopped
yourself,
watching.
man. I hate those stupid little things. I really do.
I remember the one where they went to a planet that was like 80% lawyers, and to get fast food, you had to have like clearance that your cholesterol was low and stuff. they wouldn't sell the professor any food because they're like, oh hell no, not to you.
You're a little Roten there, so you can't have any. I didn't mind when they changed up some of the characters there at the final season, but yeah, that Cro-Mag thing just got really old. And after they got rid of
What is the
O'Connell,
Cro-Mag thing?
the Cro-Mags,
I don't even remember those.
the whole 5th season was nothing but them trying to fight against Cro-Mags that come from different Earths that they were the
And-
rulers of. They
Jerry,
didn't-
Jerry O'Connell wasn't in it. John Rice Davies wasn't in it.
No, they'd gotten rid of all the originals except for Rembrandt. He was the only one that survived clear till the end.
Ugh.
I must never have seen that season.
'Cause it started by then. Kerry Wooler was basically the head of the team, and then they had some other guy that was supposed to be the merge of Quinn and his brother. They merged
Yeah.
together somehow
Yeah.
during a slide. It got kind of idiotic at the end.
Yeah, season 5 was so far off the rails, they didn't even know where the rails were.
I'm sorry, that just sounds completely idiotic.
So what about
Oh,
Alien
damn.
Nation?
Darren Wagner comes in and asks what you 7 animals doing in here. Just for the animals.
Well, we're waiting for the silence to speak.
A bunny, a bird, a wolf.
Hey, first we are not animals, we are dwarfs, because dwarfs always comes in 7.
And
Hi ho, it's off to work we go.
now we're starting to drink. We're
Again.
starting to wander
Come
off the
on,
path here.
DJ.
That wasn't sci-fi,
There's
but it was
sci-fi
funny.
with dwarfs.
I was not
there
involved.
we
in
go. Orville Nation has it. Let's get hammered on sour milk.
Oh, damn
Alien
straight.
Nation. Alien Nation.
I love Alien Nation, the movie
Oh,
and the
Alien
TV
Nation,
show.
yeah.
That was a great little TV show starring Gary Graham, who later went on to become a great little Vulcan.
Oh, yeah.
Love to hate.
Was that on HBO?
Alien Nation, no, it was on Fox.
Yeah, it
It was
was
on Fox.
early 90s,
Moved
right?
to HBO at some
Yeah.
point or something?
No.
Huh.
It was on early. It was like one of the earlier shows on Fox after it started, and it lasted a couple of seasons.
Yes, he became Saval.
Yep, and then later Gary Graham becomes Saval for Enterprise.
Good old times, as the sci-fi show still was watchable.
Yep. And it was great to get drunk off of sour milk.
Yep, that was
show
the
would be
best part.
canceled today.
Oh, yeah.
It's Cops.
Oh, positive candor. You're absolutely right. Lost in Space was a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, the original.
Original.
Right, the original. This remake is a hash of stupidity.
Well, the new one triggered me as soon as they took Billy Mummy playing Dr. Smith and they killed him off in the first episode.
Okay.
no.
Having Dr. Smith if you're going to kill him off. Oh.
And then, of course, one of my other favorites from the 80s, The Greatest American Hero.
Believe it or not, I'm walking on air.
I don't consider that sci-fi. Even though aliens were involved, it was just a secondary plot. It was just about this guy who happened to get a spacesuit and was trying to learn to use it because he was stupid and lost the instruction book twice.
But that's what made it so fun to watch.
So it was it's a cross of sci-fi and fantasy.
Okay, I'll give you that.
And then you had the episode Beelzebub. That scared the shit out of me the first time I saw it.
Hey, look, we've got a real fan in the audience. I wonder who that is.
You seem to know who everybody is, DJ.
Martin says, remember Starfleet, the Japanese show with ex-bombers? I honestly can't say I know that show.
No.
Positive Candor also loved Space 1999.
I've tried to watch Space 1999. I have to admit, I didn't get very far.
I got through it. It just always threw me out on how they changed out actors from one season to the next, and never explained where the other ones were hiding from season 1 during season 2. They're all on a moon. They couldn't have got too far. Primeval, I kind of like that show. British one originally.
Yeah, the British one isn't too bad. I think I watched 2 seasons of it.
Of course, if you're going with British, then you got Red Dwarf, the early episodes.
Oh, yeah.
Once they reformed the dwarf, and then the people got reformed, it went downhill.
Mr. Lundell brings up another one that I'm not aware of, Space Precinct.
I don't know that one.
But of course, I do know Lex.
Oh, yeah, Lex was great.
Another one of them shows that was on the Sci-Fi Channel when the Sci-Fi Channel was still actually Sci-Fi.
Before it turned into Siffy.
Yes.
We also could mention another one of Gene Roddenberry's things, which was called Earth's Final Conflict.
I did like Earth's Final Conflict, but I'm going to be one that upsets people. I liked Andromeda better.
You know what?
I really liked
I
Andromeda.
really
I
did
liked
like Andromeda.
I liked Andromeda.
I
Another one
like
from the 80s.
I like the dichotomy of I forget what they called their galactic society. Anyway, their Federation versus the Nietzscheans, right? Oh, I love that conflict. That was great.
Yes, Martin, we have heard of Star Trek.
Darren mentions a good one, The Amazing Stories.
Oh, Amazing Stories. I still watch those once in a while.
I have both seasons on my Amazon.
And I still have to check if I can get Red Dwarf somewhere because I still wasn't able to watch it. Never came to Germany.
Oh, no.
Of course, we've got Buck Rogers with Aaron Gray
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
and Pamela Hemsley as Princess Urtala.
I was too young to be in love with Aaron Gray then, but I am now.
Oh, I wasn't. That was hitting right about the time I started getting a little fuzzy feelings.
Oh, I can't not mention Futurama.
We can not mention it.
We can
How
not
can you
mention
not mention Futurama? That's sci-fi. It's as sci-fi as it gets.
Erie,
It's
Indiana. How about Erie?
That one wasn't bad.
I watched it a couple of times. I prefer Eureka.
I was going to say Eureka.
Yuri-
Yeah.
That was a good one.
Eureka
Oh,
was
Parrothead
good.
brings up Robotech. Oh my God, the first season of Robotech was the best I've ever seen.
Robotech is that's on a level all by itself.
A real fan is a real fan of Buck Rogers. Why does a real fan's background look like Alexander's bedroom?
Well, you don't want the fecal matter to hit the
It
rotary
is,
impeller
in fact,
device, do you?
Alexander's bedroom fan.
Yeah,
And
it is.
when I asked earlier, he said he was a bedroom fan.
Ah. I prefer, yes, the original Battlestar Galactica, but that's just because I'm old school. I like the newer one, but man, I miss my laser blast from a Viper.
Yeah, I miss the campiness of the original BSG.
And I miss my tin head Cylons.
Yeah, right.
Those Cylons were way better.
I don't
Yes,
want
it
you
does.
maniform Cylons.
No.
It was bad enough we got the human form Cylon in Battlestar Galactica 80.
Shit. The only thing I remember about Battlestar Galactica 1980 was the flying motorcycles. That's all I remember.
Well, I love the flying motorcycles, but there were 3 good episodes out of the whole 80 series. That was the 2-parter where the Cylons actually crashed on Earth, which you were introduced to the human form Cylon. And then there was the very last episode that they explained what happened to Starbuck.
Okay, what happened to Starbuck? I never saw that one.
Starbuck crash landed on a planet, couldn't get a signal off to the Galactica, so he couldn't be rescued. He found a crashed Cylon ship on the planet. He activated a Cylon, became friends with the Cylon. The Cylon figured out that Starbuck was lonely for a mate, wandered off for a few days and found a girl somewhere, brought her back to Starbuck, and then they had a child, and they put parts of a ship back together and launched the kid off into space, which caught up with the Galactica and became Dr. Z.
All right. According to your description, I'm never watching that show ever.
No.
Oh, it was quite humorous, though, with the interaction between Starbuck and the Cylon.
Elihu Hernandez brings up a very good one. Spaceballs.
which is a movie and not a
Which
series.
is a movie, yes. We're sticking with TV series.
I know.
Actually, I believe there was a short cartoon series.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
but
there was, but it wasn't very funny.
yeah, it sucks. So we're not going to count it. Kind of like we're not going to count V the series or Planet of the Apes TV series.
Are we counting Mystery Science Theater 3000?
Oh, actually, what I would have been looking forward to would have been a TV series of Enemy Mine.
Oh, that would have been good.
That would have been great.
Oh yeah, well, like 2 seasons, right, where they're learning to deal with one another while they're stranded on the planet. That would have been fantastic, but nope, it was never a TV show. So there you go.
Martin brings up the worst part of V, and that's when what's her face had the alien baby. That was the worst part of V.
Yeah, but that's what gave him the way to bring him down.
Yeah, that's the gas or powder or whatever it was they came
Yeah,
up.
yeah, but then it got to the part where the child is on the spaceship and grabs the key holders and electricity or whatever comes out of her body and shuts off everything.
Fair enough.
That was kind of dumb.
It was kind of a cheesy way to end it. So
That was. And
Okay,
yes, Martin, thank you for reminding me it was Robin. Robin was one of the characters on that show that I hated because whatever you told her, she'd go off and do the opposite and always
yes,
getting in trouble.
the original SJW.
Well, what I didn't like when we are talking about V was in the new series they just start
What's up, Seth?
to make both shows move or merge into each other, and then they just stopped it because no one was watching. And in the last episode of the new Visitors series, I think it was the last episode, you see Mark Singer sitting there waiting for his opportunity to attack the aliens.
While I did like the throwback to a few of the characters in the new series, like you did have Jane Badler come back.
Yeah, I would have loved to see how they want to solve it and how it would have turned out with the old characters they got in, and probably we would even have seen what's his name, the Freddy actor, Edmund.
No, Freddy actor is Robert Englund.
Robert England, yeah.
Robert England. Yes, sorry. Why do I think Edmund? Robert England. Yeah.
Maybe not, because he was still kind of big with the Freddy movies.
Yeah, but still would have loved to maybe see him back in action there.
I would have rather have seen them bring back Michael Ironside.
Oh yeah, Michael Ironside would have been a great addition to that.
Yeah.
I think the show might have got better if they brought them in sooner.
What's that woman's name? Marina Bacanolom. She played the prostitute on Firefly.
You're talking about the one that was in V2?
Yeah.
Yeah. She was the best part of the new V.
Well, she was kind of the best part.
Worth watching.
She was kind of the best part of the later episodes of Gotham too.
Bacarina, that's her name. Thank you,
Because she showed up on Gotham as Falcone's daughter.
Yep.
How about Highwayman?
Don't remember it.
No.
It was I can't remember now. It was like 10 episodes back in the 80s. Guy he was supposed to be a cop, but it was a Mad Max type world. And he had a tricked out semi.
Nope. Missed that one.
Uh-oh, somebody triggered me. Kronos says Stargate SG-1.
Well, yes, Stargate SG-1 is a great TV series.
Stargate SG-1 never went off the rails either.
I have to admit, I've never seen any Stargate series.
All right, we're taking your nerd card away.
Yeah,
You should be watching Stargate before The Expanse.
you're done. You're done.
And why is that?
And Jeff keeps
Older.
going. I think I'm forgetting something. DJ, look at it. What am I saying? Jeff, just come out and say something if you need
Please.
something. Don't sit there and just keep trolling. Come on, Jeff. If I miss something, point it out to me. But, geez, this isn't as easy as you think, Jeff.
I think Jeff is saying he's trying to think of something.
I don't know. He just keeps saying the same. That's like twice now. He said the same thing.
Is it Starman, Jeff?
I don't know what Jeff's talking about. I'm not sure.
Did they actually
Jeff's got me
make Tech
confused.
War into a TV show?
Tech War
There
was a
was a-
TV show. Tech War was a TV show for a while.
Huh, I did not know that. I read a couple of the books, but I never watched the TV show.
Well, you're missing out.
Okay. Do you take my nerd card away for not watching that show?
No, because it's not as big as Stargate.
Stargate SG-1, absolutely.
You got 3 different series of Stargates compared to just a season or so of Tech War. So
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
when you got a total of 17 seasons of a Stargate series, plus a couple of movies to wrap things up.
I've heard of Manifest. I haven't watched it. The descriptions I've heard of Manifest seem a little too much like the Dead Zone. Personally, to me, but I don't know. Have you guys seen Manifest at all?
Nope, I've
No.
never heard.
Watch the first season, I think.
Heard of it? Never saw it.
Now,
I'm going to
another-
mention one that everybody knows, but I don't know how many actually watched. Max Headroom.
that I don't count.
Every episode.
I remember watching.
Now, see, a TV series that I liked that only lasted 2 seasons was Revolution.
Oh, yeah, it was good.
It really sucked that I had to eventually go find the comics to figure out how everything was supposed to have ended, because they just dropped it all of a sudden.
Really
But I
quick.
like.
Hello there, Sith Lord. Nice to have you here. Sorry I couldn't say earlier hello, but the silence never shuts up.
That's right. But I liked Revolution. I liked the concept of little nanites got out and dampened all electricity.
Wow.
And here we go with
Sounds
Jeff Franklin with the second comment about watching the moon landing again.
Maybe because of silence. Maybe because of the silence.
Yes, Jeff, go watch the moon landing again.
You should kill us on sight.
And Sith Lord brings up Warehouse 13, Sanctuary, and Defiance. Which I loved all 3 of those shows too.
Oh, absolutely. All 3 of those shows were awesome.
Yeah, but Warehouse 13, I'm not so sure if it was really sci-fi as it was more mystical.
Okay, fair enough.
How
It's
about
on
War of the
Sci-Fi
Worlds?
Channel.
Sci-fi or sci-fi?
Yeah, right. It was on.
No, it was
No,
actually-
I think it was
Sci-Fi.
on Sci-Fi.
Okay.
Sanctuary was on Sci-Fi. And Sanctuary was more mystical than sci-fi.
Yeah, Sanctuary was.
Ellie comes up with Starship Troopers, which I have to say I liked the series. I liked the series more than the actual movies.
Now that was an animated series, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, I liked it a lot better than the movie as well. However, I did like the movie. Don't get me wrong.
It was movies. I think there is 4 of them.
Well, I know, yeah.
But we're sticking with the TV series.
We're
right
sticking with
Right.
TV shows.
Well,
now. Well,
Yeah,
another
no-
Monday we'll do movies.
going back old school, animated with Battle of the Planets.
Never watched it.
Don't know that one.
Oh wow, that was one of my favorites as a kid.
I remember the name, but that's
Yeah, it also was called G-Force, and the original Japanese was Gatchaman.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
No, no.
G-Force, I know. Okay.
yeah.
Chronos brings up the OG Transformers.
Oh, definitely.
That's definitely science fiction. Absolutely.
I'm not sure if you know the series Tripods, as it is or as it was produced in the UK, and probably was not so popular.
Was Tripods based on the War of the Worlds?
Yeah,
Okay, I've watched that show.
Now, see, I watched War of the Worlds when it was on as a TV show. Which
Yeah.
that one I kind of didn't like as much. I just really I watched it all, but I don't know.
Mr. Londell's Groovy Movie wants to know, do the Adventures of Briscoe County Jr. count as sci-fi?
no.
I would count that as no, because at least everything that they were doing was kind of possible to do. Sort of.
It's okay.
Does it,
So you don't categorize steampunk as sci-fi then?
Well, it's possible to do it if you really look at it.
I was just wondering. I like Briscoe County Jr.
does anyone remember the name of the show? I think it was on Sci-Fi. I'd say in the last 10 years, maybe 7 years. There was a guy and I think a guy, his daughter, and they were going through Earth after like the apocalypse, and they had like a postcard that said "Hello from Antarctica," and Antarctica looked all green and lush, and they were trying to get there. And I think it was based out of St. Louis. Like the St. Louis Arch was there, but it wasn't called St. Louis anymore. It had a
Sounds
new
like-
name.
Sounds like Defiance.
Defiant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Defiance.
Did we ever learn how that ended?
No,
I dropped out before it.
that was another one of the TV series that got to a certain point, and then the ratings sucked, and they just quit and never wrapped up.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah. Yeah, I dropped out somewhere around somewhere in the middle of season 2. I think I just stopped watching.
Yeah, I think that's about how far I got.
And I think it got only 3 seasons, but I'm not sure. Probably just 2 seasons. But actually, I liked it for some reason.
I mean, it was okay, but I mean, I got too boring. But I did always want to hope to see how it ended. But I think I was afraid I was never going to see it.
I wanted to see like a flashback in Defiance on how everything started out.
Yeah, that would have been great. That was really missing in there. To
Thomas
see how
Pop-
everything happened.
Brings up Falling Skies.
I didn't like.
I tried to
like
watch.
Falling Skies.
You know what
I
I
didn't
liked
like-
a lot was
I didn't
Colin.
like Under the Dome either.
Oh, I didn't like Under the Dome. No.
Falling Skies, I've watched the complete series, but they've lost me somewhere in season 2.
I
Problem
think
with Under-
Colony just ended also without a resolution.
The problem with Under the Dome, though, they went completely past the point of what the story was and just started making up stuff afterwards. And it would have been better if they just held it at 1 or 2 seasons and stretched the original story out, fill that space, and then end it.
Well, where did it go off the rails for you, and why?
It started going off the rails when they started getting all the people that were mysteriously coming in and leaving. With the book Under the Dome, it was basically everything that happened under the dome, and they didn't have all the extra new characters coming and going and people finding their way in and out and not telling others. And
I like they played the Simpsons movie over and over again in the first episode because they were stuck under a dome in the Simpsons movie.
For Westworld, the series, I liked the first season. In the second season, they've lost me a little bit, and the third season I haven't watched yet.
Mr. Londell points out if you look around channels on Roku, Defiance is on one of those. Parrot Head brings up 4400.
Oof.
The 4400 is, but I did watch the 100 on CW for a while.
Yeah, that was good the
2 or
first
3
couple of seasons. The later seasons just got all wacky.
Yeah, I dropped out when they were like, it was like a city of, I don't know, all computers and another one with this giant tower. I was done.
4400, I would need an update. Because I know I've watched it, but I cannot remember it.
4400, that one was with all the alien and all the people that were like chosen.
Abducted and brought back.
Yeah, something like that. It was like that.
That's all I can remember about it, to be honest.
Epic Beard's doing his best Tweaky impersonation.
Yeah.
Beep, 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 beep. Oh, now we're throwing in series that don't really match up with science fiction, like Ghost Hunters and Paranormal Activity. Those are kind of just basically fake shit. I'm sorry, but I've watched Ghost Hunters enough that a lot of that didn't seem real to me. Seemed like they were making it up.
They weren't even trying to hide they were making it up.
I could go to one of those places and spend all night and I wouldn't hear a damn thing. Another one I liked, though, was Jeremiah. Jeremiah was a good science fiction show.
I don't remember that one.
Jeremiah basically had Luke Perry and the Cosby Kid on it. All the adults died out and the kids were left over, and then it like flash forward 15 years where the kids were finally adults trying to put the world back together and trying to figure out what happened. And they find some adults still in bunkers that were hid away from the plague that wiped them all out.
Yeah, I don't remember that one. Surprised.
Oh,
Nope.
I think it was originally on Showtime. And then
Okay, that would have been why.
and then eventually it got replayed on Syfy for a while.
I like calling it Syfy.
That was about the time I stopped watching it.
Yeah, they don't actually play any sci-fi anymore.
And yes, we had the Quantum Leap and sliders there, Sith Lord.
Ellie, I like how you put experts in quotes. While talking about finding Bigfoot.
Yes, finding Bigfoot and
Most of
ghost
those-
hunters this and gibberish that and
Most of those experts couldn't find their ass if no one would have told them where it was.
Thomas, I like both seasons of Project Blue Book so far. I
And
think
see,
this
I
is
re-
probably the end.
I remember the original Project Blue Book back in the 70s when it was on TV. Yes, there was one back that far.
Yeah, Zachary Gibbons, we talked about sliders already. You can mention whatever you want, whatever your favorite scene in that show is, though, if you want to.
Just don't bring up the Cro-Mags again.
We'll make fun of it again and again and again. No problem.
Jeff Franklin, that is not sci-fi. That's science fact. UFO hunters.
And,
Fantasy.
and Kolchak the Night Stalker, I would more classify as a fantasy.
What about Voltron? Chrono says the 80s Voltron, the one with the lions. I'm
Or
assuming.
whatever it's Transformers is, it would be the same thing.
Yeah, okay. So it counts as sci-fi.
Project
Yeah.
UFO, that was another older series that was on.
Well, Voltron, I would put more into the Rangers category, not into
And
the Transformers category.
we have mentioned Warehouse 13. We got Land of the Lost. I remember
Land of-
growing up with that as a kid.
Land of the Lost is definitely fantasy, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. You kind of just fall through a time crack and end up in the past with Slee Stacks and dinosaurs.
Now another good animated BattleTech.
Jeff Franklin said he likes the vehicle Voltron.
Oh,
And here we go.
that's definitely not sci-fi.
I knew
The
there was
real-
a reason I didn't like Jeff.
Real fan brings up the RoboCop series, though.
I don't
It
actually
was-
remember the RoboCop series. Was that animated as well?
Yeah, it was, and well, I like the movies better than the series because that was just a little bit too childish.
All right, Orville Nation has a question for all of us.
Okay.
Has anyone watched Will Wheaton's new Ready Room episode?
I've never watched any of the Ready Room episodes.
I watched one and wanted to punch my TV.
New as in newer than after the last episode of Picard? Because I haven't watched since Picard ended.
I'll say I
haven't
didn't
watched
watch
any of them.
I didn't watch any of them.
I made the mistake of watching one and no.
This one brings up the Sarah Connor Chronicles.
Technically sci-fi because it deals with time travel, but
Well,
Orville says it was this week.
it was not the Adventures of K9. It was the Sarah Jane Chronicles.
No, originally there was a spin-off series to Doctor Who that was called The Adventures of K9, but it only lasted
Oh,
one episode.
I have to burn my nerd card now. I'm so sorry.
with the
But
Sarah,
but The
Connor-
Adventures of K9 did include Sarah Jane in it also. But it was back in the early 80s, and it was only one episode. It didn't get off the ground.
Phew. Okay, I can
Well,
keep my nerd card.
with the Sarah Connor Chronicles, I would say that most people just watched it because of the ladies in it, but not because of the story, because the story was just crap.
Yeah, the story was garbage, but the girls look pretty.
Yeah,
And Orville said this week they talked about La Sirena, whatever ship. Nope, can't say any of us watched. Will
No.
Wheaton.
I just found it on YouTube.
I
But
re-
no, I haven't watched it. And
Sith Lord, I did mention Firefly, but only in passing. Not because I don't love it. I mean, I do. It's one of my absolute favorites, but I only mentioned it in passing. I don't think we actually talked about Firefly.
Still watching Firefly over and over again because I want to find every Han Solo frozen carbonite they have in the show. And they say every episode is at last one of them shown somewhere as a running gag.
I did not know that. I never even looked for a Han Solo and Carbonite in that show.
Okay, I'm sorry, DJ. I got to step out. I'm being called away. So,
All right.
thank you for having me up.
Yep. Talk to you later.
See you, Captain.
Sith Lord brings up
Yeah,
Thundar the
Cap.
Barbarian.
I love Thundar.
Does Thundar count as sci-fi?
Well,
see, it's kind of a crossroads there because you had some fantasy aspects to it with the magic, but you also had the weird mutants types and lasers. And
sway to science.
so I would put that in the sci-fi fantasy category.
I was
Then-
actually considering mentioning Thunderbirds Go.
Then we can put He-Man into that as well. He-Man and the Masters of the Universe.
Jeff Franklin throws up the Australian K9 spin-off called K9. I never really watched that one, probably because it was made in Australia, and I didn't quite count it as lore. And no, I don't remember Star Lost. Anybody else do?
I don't even know what
No.
Star Lost is.
Maybe under a different name for Germany.
Let's see. It was a Canadian-produced science fiction series back in the 70s.
Wait a minute. Now I know what Jeff's talking about. I sort of remember the K9 and Company show. But K9 was changed so drastically looking and made weird looking that was probably why I put it out of my mind. He had kind of like big floppy ear looking things instead, and
Oh, that's
Yeah,
not a
that-
K9.
that's why I put it out of my head.
Fair enough.
That's probably why I put that completely out of my mind because it didn't quite look real K9.
The Visitor. I remember.
Yes,
I don't think I
K9
ever watched The Visitor.
Yes, I remember the K9 and Company from the 80s. It only lasted one episode. The Australian K9, I put that out of my head because K9 didn't look anything like K9, Jeff.
I think I have watched Adam 12, but I'm not sure if that was the name here in Germany. But yeah, I can remember a show with a human-looking cop that was actually an android or robot.
I thought Adam 12 was a police drama.
It is.
Yeah.
Adam 12 was not about a human-looking robot. Adam 12 was a straight police show from the 70s. I'm trying to remember. There was a cop, though, show that had a human-looking robot. And I can't remember it, but hell, I can see the guy's face in my head right now because
I
John
can,
Schmuck,
but I
Schmuck.
cannot.
that John Shuck guy was the robot. But I can't remember what the hell the
Was it
name
would
of
have been Future Cop?
I don't remember the name of the series off the top of my head. I can't.
Let's see.
Can you count Conehead since it started on
No.
Saturday Night Live?
No, I'm not counting Coneheads.
And Dollhouse was a terrible series.
But I'm looking up the guy that's in my head right now, and I will tell you what TV show that was shortly, maybe if it gives me the damn list of.
Oh, Michael. Let's see. The Future Cop was in the 70s. It had Michael Shannon, Ernest Borgnine, and John Amos. This guy was a rookie cop assigned to work the streets with a pair of veteran officers, but he's also a super strong robot.
No, the show that they're talking about is Holmes and Yo-Yo. Holmes and Yo-Yo was a two cops. One was a robot. The other guy was it was a comedy series. Detective Holmes and his new android partner Yo-Yo.
The Epic Beard said we all forgot pigs in space.
No, we didn't forget pigs in
You
space.
can't count Coneheads. You can't count pigs in space.
No, it's just puppets. We're not counting pigs in space.
And Zachary, we kind of agreed Third Rock doesn't count.
Yeah, that was a sitcom rather than a sci-fi.
We're trying to stay away from the sitcoms like Third Rock, Mork and Mindy, Alf. We're going straight to sci-fi.
You could call the $6 Million Man a sci-fi show.
Yes, the $6 Million Man I do count as along with the Bionic Woman.
Odyssey mentioned him before. We
Bionic
didn't
Man, the Bionic Man and the Bionic Woman were both.
Bionic Woman, yep.
we didn't count the $7 million woman. So, but we are sexist, so we let it slide.
I'm not sexist. I just don't like I just don't like this female doctor. That's all. Has nothing to do with her sex.
No, I meant because you mentioned the $6 million man, but not the $7 million woman, or whatever it's called in the US.
The Bionic Woman.
Yeah, just
Bionic
Bionic
Woman.
She was worth more than Steve Austin. Just saying.
And I'm not sure how, because they basically had the same parts, except he had an eye and she had an ear.
Yep.
And the sound effects were the same.
And they ran both in slow motion. I'm not telling her, Lindsay Wagner, it's not a sci-fi show. I'm saying it is. And Lindsay Wagner was a better Bionic Woman than the one they tried to do on the rehash of it. And she was definitely better than when Sandra Bullock got her start, and she was a Bionic Woman too.
She was
in the TV movies. Sandra Bullock's first acting job was on one of the Bionic Man Woman movies from late 80s or so.
They never came to Germany. I haven't watched them.
And she became a Bionic Woman too.
Unbelievable.
You never saw those movies? Because there was like 3 of them.
No, they never came to Germany.
They had reunion shows with the Bionic Man and the Bionic Woman.
But back then, it was only cinematic movies that came to Germany and not TV movies. So probably that's why it never hit Germany.
And yes, the freakiest ones was either Steve Austin against the space probe or Steve Austin against the robotic Bigfoot. And we talked about Fringe earlier, 47 Yorktown. I personally loved Fringe.
And again, I'd say I liked Fringe up to the last season. The last season just went kind of wonky.
Yeah.
Oh, Jeff brings up the Orville. We have not talked about the Orville yet.
Oh my God! Yeah, we always keep the best for the ending.
So we're saving Galactica 80 for the ending? Okay.
No, we've spoken already about Galactica 80s.
Well, we should have saved that for the ending. The Orville, though. Since we are following Ellie tonight of the Orville family, we can mention the Orville folks. Julia Rex loves the Orville.
Yeah, so far the Orville makes everything right. They are not full of this American bullshit and nonsense.
But if we want to have a real nerd fight, which one's better, the Orville or the Expanse?
Oh, the Orville by a long shot.
Well, that's just because it's the thinking man's sci-fi.
Um,
Well, I haven't watched The Expanse yet, but
Oh, good.
I watched a little bit of I watched some of the Orville, and I did enjoy it.
And no,
Good.
Cronus, nobody's mentioned Earth 2 yet.
I still have the Expense on my to-watch list. I also wasn't able to watch it yet.
Nobody mentioned Terra Nova. Are we supposed to talk about all these terrible shows?
Well, we can add them into the list here because they are sci-fi shows, if you like them or not.
I hated both Earth 2 and Terra Nova. They were both bad.
I liked Earth 2. Terra Nova, though, was just kind of a little ridiculous. Because Terra
I
Nova,
like
what-
Terra
what-
Nova, except for the fact I knew it was only going to be one season.
I know I've watched Terra Nova. I'm not sure if I've watched Earth 2.
you know, here's another one we haven't really talked about. Well, I did mention Andromeda, but another one we haven't talked about is Babylon 5.
Okay.
Babylon
Another great
5
one.
ranks right up there at the top of the list, too.
I like Babylon 5 a lot.
Babylon
And-
5 was so good that Star Trek had to rip it off.
With a space station right next to a wormhole. You're right.
Like I was like, Piano Dean mentioned Space Rangers, which I'm not sure if it counts as a TV series. I think it was only one episode that actually got aired, but I enjoyed that episode.
Titan AE. I thought that was just a movie.
I think it was just a movie.
I didn't think they had a TV series.
My favorite Martian got mentioned a second time. Woo! Go
Actually,
Yeah.
Space Rangers had a TV series in 1993.
Ah,
And
Wasn't Starman a TV show for a little while?
only
yeah, Starman was a TV show for a while, too.
Wasn't very good, though.
Oh, that was Star Rangers. Okay, yeah, I like that one too, actually.
Then, of course, we're being insulted now because the Babbling 5, that is most of the panel.
I don't think the
Right.
Epic Beard likes the fact that we're talking sci-fi TV shows.
Piano Dean brings up the Odyssey 5, another older sci-fi show. And one that I will technically count as a TV show because it was a miniseries, a long miniseries, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Oh, Hitchhiker's
Oh.
Guide to the Galaxy. Brilliant.
The miniseries was awesome.
Well, I could come up with a German TV show, but I bet no one of you ever watched it because I don't think that it ever was translated to English.
What
it
would that
was
be?
Raumpatrouille Orion or Space Patrol Orion.
Don't know.
I thought they made that into an anime at some point.
No, they didn't.
They didn't. Okay, I'm thinking of something else then.
At last, not for as far as I know. But they have had strange dances and stuff like that where people said that that's how people will dance in the future, which never happened.
Okay, Kronos, you don't have to be old to watch any of the older shows. You can watch them as long as you can find them. And Mr. Lundell, I do know about Blake 7. That was a good British science fiction TV show too.
I can't believe we forgot Sequest.
Oh, look at that.
Oh,
The silence knows what I'm talking about.
I've definitely never seen that show.
Now, I don't know anything about Star Blazers. That one I can honestly say I don't know anything about. And somebody forgot their towel. Make sure you have.
I only
Make sure-
would know the movie with Charlton Heston.
Oh, Piano Dean brings up a Patrick Duffy TV show. The Man from Atlantis. I would call that one more fantasy, though, since he was basically just a merman.
It has had this actress with the big eyes. What was her name?
Every anime woman ever?
Yeah, but she wasn't an anime woman. This blonde woman, she really had big eyes for. At last, that's what I remember it to be. That I always thought, oh my god, what fucking big eyes.
Nicole brings up Project Blue Book.
Stranger Things has been mentioned a couple times, but I would consider that more fantasy.
Yeah, I never have watched an episode of Stranger Things.
I watched a little bit of it.
Kind of like I watched that spin-off of Doctor Who called Class and wanted to gouge my eyes out.
Oh, that was an awful show.
Just wanted to gouge my eyes out.
I appreciate that they tried to do a spin-off, but that was just bad.
Torchwood was way better.
Yes. Torchwood was absolutely far and beyond better.
And Sarah Jane Chronicles was far better.
I really liked Sarah Jane Chronicles. It was really made for teenagers, but I really liked it a lot.
See, me and Jeff can agree. We hated Class. And then we have Zachary bringing up Lost.
Lost doesn't
I was
count as
purposely
any
not
genre.
bringing up Lost because Lost is garbage.
You've heard Bird of Prey speak. Lost is garbage.
Wait a second. Was Lost sci-fi? Because honestly, I'm not quite sure what it was.
I'm
Lost
not.
was nothing when it was done. It was nothing.
Of course,
Lost-
RX brings up Doctor Who again, how we started this show.
Lost was something that the writers threw up on their pages. I mean, they gagged themselves until they threw up and then called it a script and put it out there.
Yeah. Sarah Jane Adventures, Sarah Jane Adventures. Okay.
Yeah,
Let
I
us
think
get the names wrong for crying out loud.
I think for Lost, the writers had to do drugs before they wrote anything, and the one who was able to sniff the most drugs was allowed to write the script.
And Piano brings up another old one that was Powers of Matthew Star.
I don't actually know that one.
I remember watching it as a kid, but that was about as much as I can remember.
What about Life on Mars?
Don't know that one either.
Robert brings up Men in Black animated series was great. Doctor Who First Class did bring back the Weeping Angels, the best Doctor Who villains. They were the best Doctor Who villains until they got overused too much. And Orville Nation says Lost was the biggest mystery box BS ever pulled on an audience. Agreed, Bird.
Thomas Potts said those who hated Lost just couldn't understand it. Apparently, Lost is a thinking man's show.
Must be. Now, what would we consider The Prisoner as? Remember the old show, The Prisoner?
I don't.
I think it
I
was
don't
six-
remember it being sci-fi.
I don't know. I just remember some of the thing where a giant balloon's following them around and shit. I don't know.
Oh wait, I was thinking of Prison Break.
No, The Prisoner.
Dark Angel, was that the one with what's her face? The Invisible Girl from the Fantastic Four. What's her name?
You know what? 24 is pretty close to sci-fi.
Orville Nation says I've
Oh.
guessed what it's called then.
Jessica Alba. That's what it is. Thank you. So Dark Angel is the one with Jessica Alba. I would consider that sci-fi. Wasn't good, but I would consider it sci-fi.
The Pretender. I can't say I can remember that show. It's kind of like Jericho. I don't really consider science fiction either because everything that took place in that show is plausible.
Well, I mean, science fiction isn't specifically like spaceships and stuff, so
I mean,
plausible future can be considered.
I mean, you got like 13 nukes or however many it was that went off, and then it was just basically the country splitting up and having a civil.
How the hell did we forget about Altered Carbon?
Well, it's quite new.
The first season of Altered Carbon was fantastic.
Second one was also not bad, and the animated movie that came, I liked as well. So,
Tales of the Gold Monkey. I throw that in as a cheap ripoff of Indiana Jones.
Oh, okay. We're talking about cheap riff-offs of Indiana Jones. Let's talk about the Librarians.
Oh my god! But again, not so much sci-fi there.
Not sci-fi, I know, but I love that show.
True, I liked it as well. Strange thing is that, as you said, it's called The Librarians, and as it came here to Germany, they called it The Quest.
Josh Street says Dark Angel was set in a post-apocalyptic Seattle, so it was set in today's Seattle.
Oh, you're killing me, DJ.
It was the Chaz, man. It was the Chaz.
The Chaz. Oh,
Dark
God,
Angel was in the Chaz. Uh-oh,
No.
here's another one. Here's another one nobody's mentioned yet. Rebels and the Mandalorian.
Well, I thought The Mandalorian was great, and The Rebels wasn't bad, but they should have let out the time travel thing in Rebels, which would have made it better.
And yes, Piano Dean, I do agree with you. I wish they had made Damnation Alley into a TV series. That would have been a very interesting show.
Is it bad to say that I fell asleep during The Mandalorian?
They will probably pull another part of your nerd card away.
Okay, then I definitely did not fall asleep during The Mandalorian.
He just rested his eyes for a while.
Rested my eyes for most of the episodes, yes.
Well, as I said, I liked it, but if you don't, well, that's your opinion, right?
Exactly.
All right, you have a good one.
Have a great night.
Bye bye.
See ya.
See, there's not much you can really talk about Star Wars though, except for those, because that's all they ever made for shows wise.
Well, I was thinking, wasn't there a short series of Ewoks in the 80s?
Well, there was a cartoon.
Yeah, I'm not sure that it was.
Okay, maybe I'm thinking of made-for-TV movies then, because this was definitely live action that I remember.
Yeah, there was 2 movies too with Ewoks, but you can't find those anywhere. now.
Jeff, there actually is an animated Doctor Who series that's going on in Japan, but I'm not sure how far it is. And so far, I only have seen one episode that was the pilot, and I'm not sure if they have made more or not. But so far, I couldn't find any of them.
And Mr. Londell, I'll take that dare because every time I've watched that movie, I've never fallen asleep in it because I like it. I love the killer cockroaches.
I'm not sure that your brain is completely firing on all synapses, DJ.
Hey, I love the scene with the killer cockroaches and they're coming after them and they're trying to jump out the window of the building to get away from them and on the motorcycle. Yeah, I like it. Smallville, more fantasy, but still a good show.
Exactly, there was 2 Ewok movies. I haven't seen.
Piano Dean brings that one up, and I think he's thinking of Eureka. Because Matt Frewer was in the later seasons of Eureka.
Oh, he wasn't just in the later seasons. I mean, he showed up, I think, in season 2.
Yeah, but he became more of a character.
Right,
later on.
yeah. I hated his Australian accent, though. It was awful.
Well, I know I have watched the animated Droid series, which was
There we
called
go.
3PO and Friends here in Germany. But I cannot remember an Ewok animated series here in Germany, so that would be
Tremors.
something I would have to watch into.
Was
Isn't there a
Tremors ever
movie?
a TV
Tremors,
show?
the TV series. There was a Tremors TV series for one season. Burt Gummer was in that one too, and so was Matt Frewer was in it for a couple, and Christopher Lloyd was in it.
Weird. You get all that talent, and it still sucks.
Well, it kind of went way off the rails. It basically wasn't all about the graboids, though. There was one that was protected in town, so they could keep living there. So they protected El Blanco, but it was more like it was a chemical called Mixmaster that was creating all these mutated things, like glowing things that would suck the life out of people and everything else.
Blech.
But there was one full season of Tremors, the series.
Meow, Moira Kitty.
Hello.
Meow,
don't think-
Moira.
I don't think I could purr right now. I'm very tired.
Hello, Moira.
Side Factor.
Look at that. The silence
What about-
put Eureka up for me. I love Eureka.
Did anyone bring up Fireball XL5?
No.
Wow, it's
That's
sci-fi.
one I don't even know.
Oh, it's an oldie.
What is Timeless? That's like the 3rd time that Jeff Franklin brought that up. What is Timeless?
I don't know.
It was on NBC the last few years. Like the season ended just last year. The series ended just last year. It was, I think, 3 seasons of people going back. There were 2 time machines, a nice one that got stolen and like the backup that was still a prototype. And there was these guys that were going through time, part of a secret organization, trying to rewrite history.
I've watched, 2 seasons of that, I think.
Yeah, I think it was 2 or 3 seasons.
The fact that I forgot that it existed should pretty much tell you exactly what I think about
I
Time
thought it was a decent enough show for what it was.
Sith Lord
Not that
says,
I was going to miss much, but it was okay.
Sith Lord says, no soup for you, Mr. CCTV. No
Yeah.
soup for you.
I'm not sure why, though. I'm hitting most of these sci-fi buttons. I miss a few, I admit it.
Jeff says, Bird, 2 seasons plus a movie.
Really? There's a movie?
Right, yeah.
Land of the Giants.
Bird's favorite is Discovery. I'm sorry, Bird.
No, nobody said that.
How did we not talk about Discovery for Bird? See, look, right there, Bird's favorite.
Yeah, I see that.
I hate that. They end the series, then they make a movie, and the movie never comes to Germany, but we only get the fucking series.
And Martin, I would count Hercules and Xena as both fantasy. But we've got Annual Crystal Skull for Bird popping up in the chat now.
See, and I stuck up for you, Jeff.
He's actually now trying to flood the chat with it.
Johnny Quest definitely does not count as sci-fi.
What about Pinky and the Brain?
No.
Pinky and the Brain does count as sci-fi.
Oh, Jeff says he's sticking up for you, Bird, with hashtag Annual Crystal Skull for Bird. Because he's only asking for it annually instead of weekly. And a 24-hour DS9 marathon stream for Bird.
Yeah, I wouldn't count on it.
And they think that a TV series called The Crystal Skull should be made. And Martin says, you don't need pants for a victory dance. And we've got the Nightman, also a superhero TV show. His suit gave him all the powers. Plus, he drove a Plymouth Prowler. And Cronus says, holy crap, it's 9:43. Well, it's only 8:43 for me, Cronus.
3:43 for me.
But
Yeah, it's getting to my bedtime quickly.
do we have any other sci-fi we should talk about, or shall we just wrap up this first episode of the Let's Talk and try to plan on what we're going to do for next week's episode?
I can't think of any other sci-fi shows. I'm
What's
sure
a
there's
good,
a ton out there, but I can't think of any.
what's a good topic we should work on for next Monday? I think that should be up to the audience too on what they want to hear.
I think
Let's
the
try to
most
start.
logical would be sci-fi movies.
So you think we should do the movies next week? And
That would be logical.
Cool, I can start off with Captain Future again.
We're not much of a logical bunch, but yeah, we could do that.
we're the Jedi bunch. The Jedi bunch.
Jedi
That's the
bunch.
way we became the Jedi. Well, at least we won't have to do the fantasy TV shows next week. So next week we will come back, same time, same bat channel, same bat station, same bat time, and we'll talk about movies. We'll talk about the best science fiction movies we can come up with, folks.
Woohoo!
The best
And I think holding it to about a 90-minute format is a good thing too. Except Jeff Franklin's yelling, "Wait, wait, wait."
Richie Poole has a good suggestion for a future one. Best boobs in sci-fi.
Best boobs.
Best
no.
boobs.
We'll think about that one, Richie. We kind of want to do this that it might enjoy the all-around crowd and not scare off a section of the crowd just talking about boobs.
Oh, Admiral Doom, he came in at the very end.
He did. You
missed all the good stuff.
Next week for Let's Talk episode 2, we will do sci-fi movies. So those that are interested in being on the panel and talking about your favorite sci-fi movies, you can drop me a message at Twitter, or you can drop me a message on Discord, or you can grab me in any odd stream that I may do throughout the week and let me know if you want to be on the panel.
Oh, if I'm awake, I'm in.
I'm making my reservation now.
And no, Jeff, early in the show, we did talk about Lost in Space because we all said that the original was much better than the new version.
Yep.
Of course, Trek reviewers still throwing out TV shows like Mantis. But we'll wrap it up. Anybody want to say something about your channel and promote yourself or something before we get out of here? Anybody?
Well, I won't promote mine so much, but everyone out there, if you haven't already, which most of this crowd sure has, check out Bird of Prey 5. Great channel. Mr. CCV has some great stuff on there, especially his karaoke late night Saturday nights. LBG, great computers. So just check them out. Give them a sub.
Jedi Bill 797 and myself, we are hosting Insomniac Soup. Starts tonight at midnight Central Time. Everyone is welcome. If you can't sleep, come on and have fun with us.
Okay, Pixels. You've been quiet the whole time.
He's just cycling through avatars now.
Yes, sir.
Thank you
Let's go
for
to bed.
mentioning the channel. I'm going to drop out. I'll see you guys soon.
Good night, Bird.
Blah.
See you later, Bird of Prey.
Last chance to plug yourself, Pickles.
Well, I don't have anything new up so far. Still working on some stuff. Don't know how to make it. So probably next time I will promote myself with new ideas.
New ideas from Rar,
Today.
that German guy. All right, and Pixels is waving goodbye with his icons. And he's clapping. All right, folks, we're going to get out of here. You have a great night, and check out everybody else that may happen to be streaming at this point. I will not be back on later tonight, so you guys ought to be happy about that. This is the Odd One DJ Odyssey. I'm getting out of here. Thanks for coming to episode 1 of Let's Talk. Good night.
Good night,
And remember,
DJ Odyssey.
everyone, help control the pet population. Have your Kronos spayed or neutered.